Hi, welcome to Curious Joel, a show about curiosity taken deeper into the topics of people's passion and interesting conversation. I am your host, Joel Circo, and before I introduce my guest for today, I actually owe you guys a very big apology, and you'll know why in a moment, but I have been fairly absent for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months or so. I had one second part episode that I finally was able to edit and release, but other than that, I've been fairly silent. And that brings us to both our guest for today and the topic for today. My guest today is my lovely wife, December.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking about my reason for absence, and that is the fact that I have a 4-month-old son, Milo.
He's pretty cute.
He is pretty cute and also takes a lot of time, surprisingly.
And energy.
And a lot of energy. So, we're actually going to be talking about some of the things that we as first-time parents got to learn and experience for the first time going through this after moving clear across the country away from my family, who has a lot of experience with kids, with, my 7 siblings and I, and then our now 13 grandchildren.
Yep, Milo made 13.
Yeah, so we moved across to New York, which took a lot out of us in the first place, but then we hit the actual, hey, birth is going to happen, and then infant, and now it's been 4 months.
Yes. We also moved while I was 2 months pregnant.
That's
so
true,
it
too.
was a pretty rough move.
Yeah, but we are now learning things without the quick aid of my family, who knows what it's like to raise a Circo, which is, not to sound too pretentious, but is different from raising a regular kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we want to kind of talk about some things, starting with pregnancy, that we learned and not enough people talked about. I think one of the primary examples that December was not ready for was the quote-unquote morning sickness.
Yeah. Why did people call it morning sickness when it's all day long?
Yeah. So I had tried to warn her about that. Again, I've had 12 nieces and nephews before this. I've seen people go through this quite often, but I didn't fully realize how much it affected, every day, all day, depending on, every pregnancy is different, but the fact that it's not just something that happens when you wake up, right?
Right. I was working one day, and there was an hour and a half till I closed the shop, and I had to call out. I was like, I'm here, I've been here all day, and I can't finish the day. Please come relieve me.
Yeah. So in your experience, describe morning sickness to people that might not know anything about pregnancy.
Well, of course, there's the throwing up aspect. You just don't feel good, and you just have to throw up. It's like the 24-hour bug where you just throw up and you feel better. The only thing is that you don't always feel better when you throw up.
You don't get the relief.
Right.
Gotcha.
You feel off. You just constantly feel off. And it's not necessarily that you're about to throw up or that you're going to throw up. But you just feel off. Your body is fatigued. You are tired. You're just not normal.
Okay.
And yeah, it's different. And
it's a phase shift between normal and then I'm now pregnant. My body is doing a lot of work down there, a lot of extra moving parts down there.
Yeah.
Instead of just my stomach is a little grumpy, it's but add, I'm putting together a baby and all that takes movement and energy and.
Well, because the first chunk of months, you don't look pregnant, you don't feel pregnant, you can't feel the child move, you can't, You're just Am I pregnant? Well, the morning sickness is a yep, you're 100% pregnant.
Gotcha. So that's like a dynamic shift between not pregnant and I'm definitely pregnant. And again, you said it's not a morning thing; it's a life thing for
Right.
at least for you. It was.
Yeah.
Okay. What other thing were you not prepared for with pregnancy? Like the not birth, but like pregnancy.
The gagging. So I have my whole life had a really bad gag reflex. The dentists hate me. I brush my teeth half the time I start gagging because I just have a terrible gag reflex. And during pregnancy, I would gag for no reason. Getting in and out of the car, I would gag. Opening a door, I would gag.
It was changes in like temperature, pressure,
yeah.
anything.
It was, I turned my body to look at something on the other side of the room and I would gag. I would just constant. And that was the thing that I just could not get my head around is I would gag all day long. I was taking the prenatals, I had to switch from regular pills because I couldn't keep them down because of the gag reflex to chewables, which, I had to go through a couple of rounds of the chewables because my taste buds were off and they tasted all different. And,
Sorry, I retrospectively find it quite funny. In the moment, I know it was very frustrating for me because I'm highly analytical. I like to figure out what causes things. And it was like, again, I had almost 9 months of this. Could not, for the life of me or the life of her, figure out what was causing this, how to make it any better at all. It was now, like I said, retrospectively quite funny that I'm like, it was literally just
anything and everything, and it wasn't the same things every single day, in and out. It was changing.
Like, you couldn't actively trigger it. Like, you couldn't be like, yes, let me get out of the car this time. Oh, no gag group. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I stepped on my left foot this time and gag. Okay. Now, one thing you didn't really struggle with, or one of the side effects, I guess, that you didn't really have was the random cravings, right?
Yeah, I didn't really have any I need to have pickles and ice cream or, weird
onions and sour cream or something.
Right. Yeah, I didn't need to have the weird ones. I wanted more salad and chocolate milk, and that was kind of like it. But that could also be just a normal week for me. So I didn't really have the cravings.
Yeah.
Which is, which was nice.
Yeah.
I did, however, have an aversion to dark food.
Another very vague, very, very vague thing.
Dark food.
I have a fairly refined palate, and I can usually tell what people are trying to get at when they're like, well, I don't like spicy foods, but I'm okay with hot sauce. Like, okay, so you don't like the zest in things, like the zing is like, yeah, it's like, okay, cool. And I can help people walk through what their taste buds are trying to say to them, but they don't have the verbiage to do it.
Yeah.
With your dark foods,
I would look at something, I'd be like, that's too brown.
Yeah, which some of those things were not even dark in color at all.
Right.
It was just the flavor was too...
Right. The difference between chicken breast and chicken thigh. I could not do chicken thigh.
Well, and that's...
In the slightest.
Right, but that's not the best example of the awkwardness of this, because that is something that turkey every Thursday, every Thanksgiving, people are going white meat or dark meat.
Right.
But there are some other things that are teriyaki sauce, depending on which brand it was.
Yeah.
Some were okay, some weren't. And it was just random things of
Joel's really good at making fried rice. Really good at making fried rice.
Thank you.
Sometimes it was too dark. In the sense that he doesn't use soy sauce in the first place because I don't like soy sauce.
I don't use much soy sauce.
Okay. I understand. But if he put just a smidge too much, I'd be like, too brown. Just it would be...
But the tamari sauce was mostly fine.
Yeah.
Which is it's a slightly different iteration of soy sauce made slightly differently, but to I think most people, that's not a big enough difference in flavor or tone
Right.
even to change. But yeah.
I didn't like, I loved steak. I liked the steak and the protein and the iron in the steak. That I liked. However, if we did a pot roast, like in the crock pot, we did pot roast in the crock pot, that is something that I would not be able to eat.
Yeah.
And that's what woke him up, the sneeze.
Hopefully it goes back down. Sorry, our son is sleeping about 10 feet from us, so if we're a little distracted every once in a while, that's why. Yeah, so dark foods was somewhat ambiguous of what that actually meant. It was...
And again, sometimes I could choke it down and sometimes I could not.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't have much of a craving, but you did have an aversion.
Yeah.
How was not having coffee for... There we go. So if you hear some coos, Milo's awake and very happy to be part of this podcast now. So...
You were asking about coffee.
Yeah, the coffee, thank you. I was like, we were somewhere. I was in the middle of asking a question. Yeah. So how was 9 months without coffee? Plus a little.
Yeah. So I was allowed to have 200 milligrams of coffee or whatever, caffeine. I could not drink it. I couldn't drink it. It was rough because I love coffee.
Yeah.
And so not being able to drink it, like physically not being able to drink it.
Yeah, the too dark, quote unquote, too dark.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I remember coming home once or twice and she's like, I got coffee. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah, I can drink it today. I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. Glad you got coffee today. Yeah, not gonna lie, I miss those days where it was just kind of you wake me up every once in a while because you need something and you couldn't get it. Sorry, that's a preview of what's to come later as far as sleep goes. I thought pregnancy sleep was rough. Poor
ignorant Joel.
Right. But yeah, so those are just a few things. We didn't have a whole lot from the actual pregnancy that was super duper shocking or that no one warned us about. Okay. Now, moving on to the actual birth. So I know that we had some learning experiences with the actual birth process.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, where do you want to start with this?
Well, this is a difficult one because it was not... So, I will say, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it was way worse than I thought it was going to be. So,
Inverted split difference?
Yeah, yeah. The actual giving birth and pushing was not as bad as I thought, but the lead up was way worse.
Yeah, well, so...
I'll just go right into it. So so Milo here was 2 weeks late. He did not want to come out. So the doctors brought me in on a Monday and said, we're going to induce you. And so I was there on Monday and Tuesday.
Really quick. So induction, for those that don't know, that is if someone's not giving birth, they're not naturally
not naturally going into labor.
Thank you.
So when I walked in on Monday, I was like almost at 1 centimeter. And they're like, well, yeah, we're going to start you on... Sorry. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I don't remember any of the names of anything that they gave me.
Pitocin,
they didn't get into me until the very end.
I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah. It's okay, Joel. It's okay. So, on Monday, they gave me a vaginal stimuli thingy, and that stayed there for like 12 hours, and that got me nowhere. And then they had little tiny pills that they put into my cheeks that would like slowly dissolve, and they did that for another 12 to 24 hours. I think it was more 24 hours that one went on, because that one also only got me to 3 centimeters. So from Monday to Wednesday afternoon, I had not progressed barely at all.
Yeah, it was
Rough.
rough. And we were just in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, she's
Walking
hooked up
around
to
every now and again,
monitors and
hooked up to a monitor. The bed was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever had in my entire life, and I hated it. And I swear to you, I think part of the reason why it was so rough and my back hurt in a bit, I will explain more, but my back just was hurting so bad from the bed. It was just awful.
I will say, for the hospital that we went to, which is pretty well known, and oh, Milo, you're okay.
He just needed some nums.
You're okay, Milo.
Sorry, it didn't mix well enough.
It's okay.
There you go, honey. Okay. Yeah, so for the hospital we went to, the beds were really awful for giving birth. Like, they were terrible.
Yeah, and these are the before you give birth and like pre-birth and labor, and like these are the ones that people are on for the longest time, and they are like, even the hospital staff agreed. These are terrible beds. Everyone complains about them. Like, maybe that should be changed, because
once we had Milo, the beds were phenomenal.
I can't tell you the difference because I only slept in the ones afterwards.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, that was a very interesting thing to be like, hey, this is the most unconducive bed to being comfortable and giving birth.
Right. And so because they were so uncomfortable, I had a lack of sleep going into the whole pushing part, and it was really rough. So then about 3 p.m, they decide, you know what, you're not progressing. And so we talked about different options, and so we decided on them breaking my water, and then we were going to wait a while to see what my body did after the water broke, before we started Pitocin, because again, I didn't want Pitocin. I've heard horror stories of Pitocin. It's just not great.
By the way, I do want to touch on the general horror stories thing. It's a very scary landscape to be researching birth stuff, especially when your phone knows it and starts recommending, all these different videos on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever you watch the fun, because there's horror stories about literally everything regarding birth. Like, it is just something that people nobody
talks about the good stuff. Nobody talks about how,
Pitocin
helped me, or,
no matter what it is, whether it's C-section, whether it's a natural birth, whatever it is, there's always somebody going, well, this almost killed me, and it almost killed my baby, and it almost killed me again, and then the father also almost died because I had a C-section. It's like, what? It's like, well, it is an extreme case, but those, as her husband, I was sitting there going, these are not very helpful videos, because everything, she was getting worried and scared about pretty much anything besides, like, the doctors just look at me while I do everything myself.
Right.
But anyway.
So I didn't want Pitocin because I already had the scare earlier in the pregnancy of possibly needing a C-section, which, again, I didn't want. I'm very much more for natural birth, but I have a fibroid that was pretty large.
What's a fibroid, really quick?
It's just a mass of cells.
Okay.
It's not cancerous in any way. It is just a mass of cells because of hormones.
But it can look kind of like cancer, and it's yours is pretty big, right?
Mine was pretty big.
Can you give like a size comparison?
It was like 13 centimeters long. That's pretty large.
Okay.
That's really big.
Yeah. So I know that was one of our
Right.
concerns with things was depending on where that ends up and how Milo
Right.
is.
If it's covering the vaginal opening, then I cannot push the child out.
Right. Yeah.
So, and there are times where, you know, the child could get stuck on the fibroid and stuff.
Right.
So there was always that chance of me going into a C-section. So I didn't want anything else pushing me closer to a C-section. So I really wanted to not do Pitocin, but so we said, okay, we're going to wait a half hour or a little, half hour, 45 minutes to see how you do once we break your water.
Yeah.
Well, I went pretty good after we broke my water. They broke my water, and I think it was less than 5 minutes. I had to go to the bathroom, and everything started to hurt.
Yeah, it was.
I went from,
immediate.
I didn't feel any contractions to, I think I'm dying. It felt like someone was like trying to take my spine and twist.
Yeah.
And pull it out.
It was rough to watch. Not gonna lie, just like watching her go from I'm just kind of lying in bed, but this one's at an uncomfortable hospital bed to just almost immediately into like just crying,
bored anxiety of like just get the child out to, oh dear God, what's going to happen? Yeah. I got scared. I'm not gonna lie, I got very scared because I went from no pain to
all of it.
It was like a 9, and I just was like, oh my gosh. And I just looked at the nurse. I was like, sitting on the toilet was the only relief I got. It just put me in the right spot where it went down to an 8. It was still really a lot of pain, but it wasn't as intense. So what we decided to do after that is the nurse is like, okay, we'll give you, I think it was morphine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll give me morphine, and they're like, it's almost instantaneous. It may take a couple seconds.
And it takes like their promises were like 50% of the pain or something.
Right,
like
it'll
that.
go down. It did nothing. Morphine did not a thing for me. And so I was like, you know what, I can't do this. And so I called for an epidural, which, I'm going to be honest, saved me from a C-section. Because I was so scared and so in pain and let me tell you, it was only a half hour.
Yeah.
Only a half hour that I was in this severe pain. So I called for the epidural, and then once the epidural was in place, Joel had to sit down because I was holding him so tight, and he got so hot. Well, he almost passed out because I was hurting him.
You always forget this part, because you also had this like heat lamp over you.
Yeah, they also had like a heat lamp so that they could see where they were putting it in. And
the intention of the lamp is not heat, it just happens to produce a lot of heat.
Right.
And as somebody that is very warm-blooded, and then you're gripping my hand very tightly. If it was just that in a nice, cool room,
right,
I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I was like that sweating,
yes,
and then I'm like, oh, I'm getting very lightheaded and dizzy, and I'm going to go sit down.
They were all like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine now. And he goes, no, they were talking to me. And I was like, oh, hi, honey.
Like
he was physically holding me still, because when the contractions came, it was painful.
Yeah.
But once they got the epidural in, I was able to take a deep breath and be like, okay, I can do this now.
Yeah.
And they had not given me the Pitocin yet. They started the Pitocin, I think, after the epidural.
Yeah.
But they had not started the Pitocin yet. And so that when they go to check my dialage, dilation.
There you go.
That's the correct word. When they checked my dilation after the epidural, they were like, "Oh, you're now at 7+ meter or 7
Meters. Jeez.
meters." Oh my gosh! No, you're at 7.5 centimeters. In a half hour,
That's a lot.
I went from 3 to 7.5, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, I could able to handle it after that, and it was pretty quick after that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think we were done with the epidural by 4:00, and so I guess it was 4 more hours after that, wasn't it? Because he came out at 9:15.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it felt like it was an hour.
Like the actual
From the time I got the epidural to the time he came out, it felt like maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was long. It was longer than that, but
I should rephrase that in saying, from the time they got me to the epidural to the time I started pushing, it felt like an hour.
it might have. I don't know. I don't know exactly.
Right.
You're talking to some of this timeline, so.
Well, yeah. But the amount, it felt like I was pushing for 20 minutes and he was out. I was actually pushing for 50 minutes, which they said was really impressive because usually first child it takes like an hour and a half, according to what my doctor said. And so they were like really impressed, like, yeah, you did it so fast. And then I got to hold my little baby.
I want to make some quick notes as the husband.
And we found out he was a boy, and we were so excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it.
Now,
With his tiny little head.
Yeah. So a couple notes as the husband helping her through this. There's a few things. One was I was expecting the death grip on my hand. I was resolute that I wasn't going to be one of those husbands that just kind of like, I can't handle the idea of this and passes out. That's why I wanted to clarify. It was the heat lamp pointed at the back of my head.
Right, it was the heat lamp. It was nowhere near the birth that he was actually going to pass out.
Right.
It was the heat lamp.
And I was able to come back once I cooled off, physically cooled off. I was able to come back and help finish helping for the rest of it. But, that was just me as my own person, not because a man shouldn't pass out in the well, the woman's giving birth or anything like that. Just I personally didn't want to be one of those people. Anyway, I sat in a different room recovering from her giving birth.
Yeah.
But it was something I wanted to be there. I wanted to be a part of it, and I'm glad I was there.
I needed him there.
Yeah. Especially when she got to points where she was sitting there going nope, I'm done. I can't do this. This hurts too much. I don't know how much you remember that December, but there's a couple of times you're like, I can't do it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, no, you're not. His head is barely poking out. It's out, but you got to go a lot further.
I can see the hair on his head.
Right.
Push him out.
You got to keep going. You cannot. Yeah. This is not where you stop.
And I will say, I won't use any names, but my doctor looked at me and said, you gotta push him out, and made sure my nonsense was shut down.
Yep.
So shout out to my doctors, because without them or any other doctor, I think it would have been way worse.
Yeah.
And I would have ended up in a C-section.
They knew that you needed that extra.
I needed that tough love. Yeah.
It was the essential. It was very similar to the senior movie where they slap her across the face and go, stop it. But, they're a doctor.
Right. You held my leg.
And your hand.
And the hand, because at one point I had to use bars instead of holding my legs, because the holding my legs was just not conducive for me. It was awful. Yeah. So I held the bars. Joel held a leg. One of the nurses held the other leg. Yeah. And then there were 2 doctors. Well, I mean, there were so many. There could have been 50 people in the room, and I would have no idea how many. All I know is there was 2 people on my leg, 2 doctors, and I don't know what else. Yeah. But there was a lot of people.
From your hand and the leg to just the leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's see, there was at one point, I told them, I was like, okay, I need a break. Give me a second. I was struggling holding my breath for 10 seconds and pushing.
You were terrible at the
I
breathing
was
and pushing.
so bad.
You'd like that. For someone that's trained on flute and other stuff like that, and like breathing techniques,
you would think,
and like it was like, okay, take a deep breath, and then you're gonna blow into your flute. It's like, babe, you need to do. Breathe in with that air in your It was quite interesting. Now I know why people coach through breathing, but not the. It's the.
But I think so with the epidural, I could still feel him coming.
Oh yeah.
It was a lot of, I was like, I feel like I'm gonna poop. I feel like I'm gonna poop. And
that's your child.
Yeah, they're like, no, I don't think you do. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he's coming. So.
Speaking of poop.
Milo pooped.
We might have to take a short break to change this little one's diaper.
Yeah.
Speaking of parenting. All right, give us a moment. We'll be back. So now that we've changed the diaper,
and we're back.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was telling them, like, I feel like I have to poop. I know he's coming, and they were like, okay. And so they checked me, and they were like, let's go get the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they said you're at 10 centimeters, but it's not quite a full 10 centimeters. So they went and got the doctor, and by the time the doctor had gotten in there, they were like, oh, yeah, go get everybody. Yep. While pushing, we got to a spot where I felt myself tearing, I think. And so that's when I was doing okay, and then I got a little panicky because I was like, okay, this is not fun anymore. Because the epidural took away the pain, but I could still feel
It didn't work fully. Like, other people, like, you're paralyzed from the waist down, essentially.
Yeah.
There's no sensation hardly at all, like, except for internally, but it didn't work quite that well.
Yeah, and I could feel I couldn't feel, like, the actual, like, pain from it, but, like, I could feel it changing.
Yeah.
So that was, like, that scared me a little bit, but I was like, nope, he's got to come out. I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, that was, like, part of the way through the head, and that's not somewhere you can, like, stop. And
right, yeah, if I stopped, it could cause some major issues with him. So we decided not to do that. Or I should say, I decided not to do that, and I was like, we're going.
Yep.
So I pushed and got him out. But the amount of relief and like, oh my God, I just did that.
Right.
When they're lifting him up and putting him on me was just amazing.
Yeah.
I don't remember when they told me he was a boy.
That was pretty shortly after.
Yeah, I don't remember whether they told me he was a boy before or after he made it to my chest.
Before.
Before, okay. Joel was in tears.
Yeah.
And
his son now.
We knew instantly that the name we had chosen was not his name.
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that.
Yes.
So we won't go to super much detail about what everything went into it, but so most babies they take a while to get control of their like neck and stuff like that. No, Milo instantly was up, looking around the entire room, not closing his eyes and crying and okay, well I don't know what this new place is. He went, I want to learn everything right now.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, he was still crying and, but he wasn't just uncontrollable crying with eyes closed, and he was more of like, what just happened? Where am I?
Yep.
Who is this
I need,
place?
I need answers.
Yeah.
And just his control of his neck, his strength.
Mm-hmm.
That's one comment we've gotten from every single doctor pretty much that has ever seen him.
It's how strong he is.
It's like, oh my gosh, he's so strong. It's like,
yeah.
Not like, oh, he's so strong. Like, oh my gosh. And so we had to look at our, like, the name we had was not quite it.
Right.
So we looked back and sort of looked at our whole pool of names we'd looked at for ages, and we both liked Milo. Gave us the same vibes that we were getting off of him of just like the strength and the curiosity, the want to learn. That was evident right away, and so we went that one. But it was something that, like, a couple of my brothers had prepped me for, is like, you can pick all the names you want, but every once in a while you look at the kid and you're like, nope.
That's not them.
I know exactly what his name is, or at least that's not it. So that's one thing that I'm glad I prepped for, but I almost wasn't prepped for. Was just his like we had a name picked out. Oops, never mind. Yeah. So that's something that new parents that are waiting for their precious little one to come is prep as much as you can, but be ready for
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna think you're so prepared, but you better be ready for those, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then one other thing I want to say just generally about, I mean, that's something that's true about the entire birth plan, is...
I'm gonna be honest. I went in there with, get the baby out.
Yeah, but there's a few things that you had said, like, you didn't really want the epidural. Epidurals are scary. I also knew you probably didn't want an epidural because, you like to move. Just any time you want to be walking, you want to be able to do stuff, and an epidural means you can't.
Right.
And so that was something that, I know it sounded like a very quick, like, oh, actually, let's do it. But it was okay, if you really want to, we can. And it was a discussion that we had in a moment of, you said you didn't want to. I'm not saying you can't. Just, I want to make sure that you're not going to go, I should have not tried to do that. So you can have all the birth plan you want.
Yes, but the birth plan I really had was, I kind of don't want an epidural, and I would like to do anything and everything I can. I want to move around a lot, and try to do as natural as possible. Well, that clearly went completely out the window. It was a vaginal birth, which I was happy about. Not that C-sections are bad or anything like that, because some people, that's how they have to have their child, and that is A-okay. That's just not what I wanted, and so, but considering how little of a birth plan I did, I was like, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
And I do know of some people who have it down to every minute detail that has to be completely planned out.
So I better be at this many,
that's what it felt like for the couple I was reading.
As I say, there are a few people that I've heard that it's like, you should plan out every single detail. Otherwise, you're just going to get steamrolled during the pregnancy and the birth. Like, the doctor's going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm like...
I will say, I've heard a lot of people say that, the doctors just tell you what to do and stuff, but that was not my experience at all. The doctors were very much, this is the information, you do what you need to do.
Yeah, make your choices. That came to everything, and we're not going to go into details of what we did, but like, one of the things that people said was like, they steamroll you with like the vaccines and everything like that. They go, hey, we have years of, they give you the information of, hey, we all these are tested. We wouldn't be putting them in kids if we didn't test them, and and if we'd said yes or no, they would have respected either choice at the moment.
Right.
And that goes for everything. That's hey, this usually goes in their eyes. Do you want to do that? Like, this is what we usually do next. You know, they're very, at least at the hospital we were at, we're very much, hey, parents are making all sorts of choices now.
Right.
Unless it is directly unhealthy for your baby.
Right.
And going to cause harm, they'll do whatever we do or don't want them to do. Like, unless it was a direct, health issue. Every step of the way, we could have chosen whatever choice we wanted for anything, and they'd be like, okay, we can skip that, or we can do that. And that's something that I know a lot of people like, and that could have been just because the hospital went to. But,
right. And I mean, even the morphine was even their way of trying to, it was like, I really don't want an epidural. The morphine was even their way of trying to compromise.
Had it worked,
it would have been great.
It might have
but
actually helped.
I will say, at one point, I had to talk to a nurse about a family member coming to visit, and having their opinion be very, having an opinion. And I had to tell the nurse, like, don't, this is the situation with the visitor, and please, ignore everything they say.
And that's something that we had a heads up that, like most places are, understand that,
a lot of people have family that's opinionated, and
whether it's your brother or sister that came and they had the thing, or mother or mother-in-law or aunt or cousins or whoever, everyone has opinions about, or most everyone that's visiting has some opinion, like, well, see, I just got all of the vaccines when I was first born, and that's what you should do, whether or not, they're old enough for it, It's like, no, I'm glad that you didn't die from that, but...
all vaccines at once are not great.
It's like, well, you definitely should, you should or shouldn't circumcise, or whatever, whatever the thing is, everyone has an opinion on it, and doctors know that.
Yeah, I was able to talk to a nurse and be like, hey, when this person comes and visits, please XYZ... blah blah blah, right. And I was really,
they can say whatever they want. Don't shut them down, but we're not.
And the nurse had asked me, is there anything we need to know about family members, or any rules or anything that you want to imply that families may not? And I was like, absolutely, this XYZ.
Yeah.
Here you go. He wants to be on the floor. I don't know. So overall, the birth was not terrible in any way. I did have a 2nd-degree tear, but that healed nicely.
Well, and they also said that's also pretty small for a first-time birth, right?
Right. They said that it could have been a lot worse, and especially with how fast I pushed.
That was, they were surprised that that's all they had.
They were very happy with how this all went down, and at the 6-week checkup, they were like, yeah, no, you healed excellently, blah, blah, blah. And so that was very happy to hear. When they were sewing me up, they were like, you probably won't feel it. And for the most part, I didn't. I felt one point, I was like, oh, felt that pinch. When the placenta came out, I will say that was the weirdest part, is because it was just like a goop. It felt like just a goop came out.
Yeah, that's something I feel like not very many people, I don't know. Maybe this is one of those moments that as a guy I didn't hear things about, but...
Yeah. Nobody talks about how the placenta comes out a lot of the time.
Like, they talk about the afterbirth, but it's like, what? I thought that was just the stuff, like, the remains of, like, the blood and stuff from the actual birth itself, not, oh, by the way, the thing that they were made in also needs to come out. So that was something, like, through this, I was able to educate myself on that a little bit, and, like, hey, that also needs to come out, and if it doesn't come out smoothly, that can also cause issues. I'm like, oh, so after the baby's born, there's still an opportunity for labor to go wrong? Okay, cool. I thought when the baby came out, that's the end of labor, but...
No, there's sometimes where placenta doesn't fully come out, and, that can cause issues, but...
Yeah.
It doesn't happen, I guess, often, but
Yeah, but it's something
it can
that,
happen.
like,
Right.
and again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about, like, horror stories. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that like to, there's a lot of potential for life and death in pregnant, like, in with birth. And I think people like to capitalize on that. It's really easy to make content about people talking about those things.
Yeah.
Which I'll get back to in a little bit, with a little thing that got me going about being a parent. But yeah. And then, like, I mean, once all that was out, it was pretty straightforward. I think the only thing of note that I would have changed is that very first night. I think, yeah, that's a microphone, Milo. That first night, we didn't let him sleep in the little, like, bassinet thing, and I'm not gonna lie, that kind of threw a wrench in things. Like, that's the one thing that I would have changed is, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, like, held him all night. That's something that we're, to this day, still dealing with, is that having him sleep not on our person is
A struggle.
yeah, it's a struggle.
Even the talk about it, he hates.
But yeah,
But I mean, we were just so excited. He's finally here.
Yeah.
You know, he was 2 weeks late. Just all of it was just, oh my gosh. And then, you know, life could get normal again. You know, we're not in a hospital anymore.
Yeah.
And we just, I mean, we were still in the hospital at that moment.
Like,
you know,
we
still were in the hospital until the end of the week.
Yeah.
We were in the hospital for 5 full days.
Yeah.
Samantha. Yeah.
We'll be right back. Sorry, we got him calm finally. He just got a little frustrated for a second. Yeah, I also had the silly idea that I would be able to record the podcast without interruptions from Milo. That was really funny.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, we're still learning that Milo's in control.
He's not.
He's in charge.
But he does
He's not.
impose.
But he does.
Yeah, that's another thing we'll talk about a little bit is the jokes. It's really easy to joke about things, and the jokes can become reality with parenting.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yes.
But anyway, so, like, that was really the only thing that I can think of that was, like, in the hospital. We should have just let him sleep in the bassinet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's gonna cry a little bit, but he was inside his mother for the last 9 months.
So what do we just have to put him down now? We just it's as new parents, we can see what we did wrong, but we're
It was just like, oh, but
He's
he's crying.
new.
He's crying. We can't let him sit there. He needs to be, like...
Right.
So we'd put him to sleep and just keep him on us instead of getting him used to being put down into the bassinet. Like, and that's decision.
acting like we slept. We didn't sleep when he was on us. We were staring at his gorgeous little butt.
Yeah. But that was really the only notable thing in the hospital after the birth finished up. Yeah. Bringing him home, you know, we had a few things that we had to figure out, but as far as things that we were not ready for, I'm gonna go on my little rant about 2 phrases. Okay, Milo's gonna go on my little rant.
Milo needs to say his piece.
So, as the person that does the research, as the person that finds products, as, like, I've mentioned this numerous times on my podcast, a lot of my family comes to me to find things, research products, and how well they work and stuff like that. So, in the product world, I'm used to looking at key phrases for things, and, like, I'll use TVs as an example because that's something that I've done a lot of research for. And that's like TVs. What do you want out of your TV? Do you want an OLED, which gives you true blacks and lots of definition? Or do you want LED or QLED that has brightest brights that gives you a lot of color, and brightness in your viewing experience? How big do you want your TV? Do you need a small monitor? Do you need a giant, a theater-sized TV? And so there's key phrases you look at for those. The OLED versus LED. There's the 55-inch. There's how much can they handle? 4K versus 8K versus 1080p. So those are key things that mean something definitive when you're looking for TVs and monitors and stuff like that. With baby stuff, I've kept seeing these phrases pop up all over the place, and one of them was something that really worried my wife terribly, and that's SIDS. Okay, now SIDS it's an acronym that stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome. Okay, now also know that I like definitions and what things mean. So SIDS is Sudden Infant Death Syndrome, which is a fancy medical term for the child died and it wasn't something that they were telegraphing ahead of time. So not like a long-term disease or anything like that. It's something that happens fairly quickly, and that's it. Now, my wife was worried sick at certain points because she was so worried about it, and but it's something that as I started researching, what is it? Because I thought I knew. I thought it was something along the lines of a brain aneurysm or something that just it just kind of happens. When I researched it and started looking at what is included in as a SIDS diagnosis, and I'm sitting going, so if they suffocate, that's SIDS. If they die from heat exhaustion, that's SIDS. If they choke to death, that's SIDS. If, all these different things, anything that is not something that you can see coming a mile away and, prevent. So not a sickness, not, anything, an illness or something like that is considered SIDS, which to me is infuriating, because that means that it's something that as if they were 10 years old, it'd be classified as those things, which is more specific, more definitive. But it's something that not to be in a very dark place, but if for some reason an explosion happened, that would be classified as SIDS. Why? Well, it's a sudden infant death that didn't have any precursors to it, no symptoms beforehand, and it's okay, great, but that label of helps prevent SIDS is on so many products for babies, but what it doesn't tell you is what part of SIDS it's preventing. Is it breathable material so they're not suffocating? Is it not a choking hazard? Is it help them cool down so they don't overheat? And it's 1.5 million things, but because you can put a label of SIDS on anything. Yeah. It helps prevent SIDS on anything, any product, and that can help sell it, because what parent wants to buy the product that doesn't say it prevents your kid from dying? Right. It's I'm going to buy the one that doesn't say that. No, you're going to buy the one that says, hey, I can keep your baby alive. But without that definition of what aspect of it is, it means that those products can be terrible in other ways, but because they say that thing of helps prevent SIDS, all of a sudden it's a desirable product. And it's very annoying, and it's also a fear tactic to sell things, which also infuriates me. Going back to the TVs, that'd be if someone said, well, it has images, and it's big. And it has great images. It's okay, well, what size is it? Is it 4K or 8K? It does have pixels. Great. But this one you won't ever get bored with. It's like, well, obviously I'm going to get the one that doesn't let me get bored. But the other phrase that is in a similar vein is colic. So I thought colic was like a sickness type of thing or a phase that babies go through that was indicative of something they got or working through, something like that. Colic literally just means they cried more than more normal. That's it. Like, it could be from gas. It could be from discomfort. It could be because they have a broken arm. It could be because they're sick. It could be 1.5 million things. But one of the primary things, I guess, that people market is the gas. So babies that get gas while they're eating, they can cry a lot because they haven't burped enough because parents aren't paying attention to that. So instead of saying, hey, babies are gassy and crying and need to burp, they say, hey, they have colic. Now you can also now market bottles as anti-colic. Now, does that help them from breaking an arm? No. Does it help them from crying too much, generally speaking? No. But because it helps slow down how many bubbles in their milk they're getting. Do you want to argue with me on this one?
Is it colic?
Sure. I've seen people say it a lot of different ways in my research. You'd be surprised.
I would call it colic.
Colic. I've seen people say it all different ways, but it's either way, it doesn't help the actual phrase mean something more, because it just means excessive crying for a number of reasons. So if they have a migraine as a baby, it can cause colic. Which,
Set a debate in the comments. Is it colic or colic or?
But like, the baby bottle you get is not going to help him with migraines. It's going to help him not have as much gas in his stomach. Which, that phrase is a whole lot more helpful and a whole lot more specific than helps prevent colic. But those are my two little rants about things that it turned into a marketing thing, and I'm not sure who started them, but it's just really, really annoyed me as a parent going, so if everything's colic and SIDS free, it's like, okay, great. What is it? Well, it's a grenade.
Yeah.
It's not going to give them gas, and it doesn't help them overheat. It's like, great, cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What helped with the fear of SIDS and stuff is I talked to a nurse, and they were like, the safe sleep is the best thing. There are safe sleep standards, and if you can practically put them into play, those are the things that have been proven to work. Not all of these products, not all of these, things.
Right. Well, because it comes down to, are they overheating? Parents are throwing on blankets and blankets and blankets, and they're overheating, or they think these nice, soft, super fluffy pillows are going to help them, but they are not breathable. And stuff like that. So
so there's the guidelines that they have for the safe sleep is the thing that you should go off of. The thing that you should, a lot of people have, all the products are gimmicks. You don't need a ton of products. You need a firm mattress. They lay on their back. You can swaddle or not. Swaddling, they say, helps. So there's many things that help, but there's not one specific product. So a pacifier helps prevent SIDS. They don't care which one, just a pacifier. So it doesn't matter a lot on the product necessarily. It's more of they say this, anything will do.
Yeah. Well, and like you're talking about with mattresses, a lot of mattresses are made to be breathable. So if you plant your face in it, you can still breathe.
Right.
It's not preventing air from getting to you.
Because the worry at this age or at newborn age, they can't lift their head up and turn it to the side.
Right.
To get air.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
our son now is able to roll over, and so he does what he wants. So if he wants to go on his tummy, he goes on his tummy. He, bless you, little man. My goodness,
Jeez.
bless you. He is old enough to roll over, so therefore we can put him down on his back, and if he rolls over, he rolls over because he can now.
If he wants to sleep on his face, he can sleep on his face.
Right, he has the ability to get out of the scary situation.
Right. Yeah, you do.
Yes, Milo.
He started smiling at us. Yeah.
So once we got Milo home, we did stop at, first stop on our way home, we stopped at Wegmans and got a sub. Yeah.
Because she could finally eat lunch meats. I forgot about that one too.
Yeah.
There was a lot, but I feel like the coffee was the biggest one.
And sushi. I love sushi. Everything you're not allowed to have during pregnancy, that's what you want the most. Let's be honest.
Okay, that can go to human psychology. By the way, the bathroom's closed now.
Oh gosh, I have to go to the
right now.
understand. Yeah, it's a psychology thing. I get it.
You can't have it, so that's all you want.
So on our way home, we got a Wegmans sub, and then once we got him in the door, it was like, wow. They let us leave the hospital with him.
Still don't know how that happened. Yeah, it not even gonna lie, it's still a little surreal. And he's 4 months old now, and there's still times like, that's right,
I made you, I pushed you out, you're here with me. Well,
yes, but like it's still surreal, a little bit of like, but is he like,
this is
real
my child
for the rest of my life? Yeah, but
I didn't realize I could love something so much.
Yeah.
The love I have for Joel is unamountable. I don't know if that's the right word. Anyway, there's no amount of measure. There's no measure to the amount of love I have for Joel, but the love I have for Milo is completely different.
Yeah.
I chose Joel, whereas Milo was given to me.
Yeah.
And I made him. I created him. I pushed him out. Whoa.
Yeah.
So it's very surreal. Still thinking about, like, I went through that whole process. I went through that nightmare, if you will.
Yeah.
And I got something so great out of it.
Yeah. And then we were faced with a lot more choices than we thought we were gonna have, of like how much formula to use and how hard to work at breastfeeding versus bottle feeding.
And what's the right choice for us when, what is the right thing? And,
and then it's one of the difficult things of like, there aren't necessarily right answers. There's best cases and best for you at the moment, or what's possible at the moment.
Right.
And then there's the other side of the things that we got when home besides choices is what sleep?
Yeah, what is I don't think we've slept since he was born.
Obviously it's an exaggeration to some extent, but not as much as you think.
Right.
I thought my insomnia had prepped me for the lack of sleep that I would have with a kid, and that did not at all whatsoever. I think I'm better off than December is. But marginally, I mean, yes, but still, like, neither of us are doing well. I think I'm barely able to handle it better because I'm used to having short spurts of I got an hour of sleep this 3 days in a row.
Right.
But eventually, my insomnia will go, okay, you're just tired. You need to take a nap or go to sleep. But now that's not an option. It's like, I'm going to go lay down now. It's like, oh, cool. It's excuse me?
And I'm not a big napper. I don't like taking naps. The amount of naps I've taken since he was born, since pregnancy started, has been
a lot.
I am not a big napper. And I think I nap almost every day.
Yeah.
Because I just need more sleep. Yeah.
Do a little giggle.
The one thing I will say is that everybody says it goes... Yeah, everybody says it goes so fast, but they're downplaying it. From newborn to 6 weeks was the fastest 6 weeks of my entire life.
Yeah.
And every month since then, we've been documenting every month, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, going from newborn cry to 6 weeks, it was just so fast. And every month since then, it's just been boom, 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 boom. And he's hit all of the milestones. You know, he's doing fabulous, but he doesn't want to be doing fabulous, apparently. He went from 8 pounds, 5 ounces, 21 inches long, to now in 4 months, he's 15 pounds, 14 ounces, and 25.5 inches long.
He's a big boy.
You know, he's almost doubled in weight, and he's grown almost 5 inches.
Yeah.
It's crazy how big he is now compared to the little tiny thing that came out.
Right.
And just, he was so small and so cute and just a little tiny baby, and now he's a monster.
He's trying to walk.
Yeah.
Trying to get him back
He's
to
trying
crawling.
to script. He's trying to skip crawling.
Yeah.
But we are fighting him very hard. He's gonna crawl.
But he's also getting ready to eat some semi-solid foods and stuff like that are not formula or breast milk, you know.
Yeah.
But he's got so many like sounds that he's making, like not like kind of, he's got like a whole arsenal of syllables that he can put out, not just random sounds, but like syllables, and he's getting very close to getting words out, and we're like,
he's always loved raspberries. We would do raspberries to him. He would just be like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? And it didn't take him super long, but he found out how to do it. And it's like every other sound is a raspberry. He just loves it.
And now he can combine that with other syllables too, like THs with the raspberry.
It sounds like he's rolling his R's already, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, God, what?
Yeah.
Joel helped him discover his feet, and since then he doesn't want to let his feet go. He's like, this is mine. And
but it's so amazing and kind of oddly terrifying how fast he's learning things, and it's also, oh well, we can't take that away anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I had him grab his feet one night, and then he's like, oh, I can do that now, and he's grabbing his feet, and then 2 nights ago he started trying to shove his foot in his mouth.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it reaches my mouth. Right. I can do this. Like, now move over, fingers.
Yeah.
Feet are coming to play.
Yeah, and so it's something like at even 3 months, I was already telling other parents that I see with the small, because like, this was 2 days ago that he was born, I swear.
Yeah.
You need to like really understand how fast this time goes. Yeah. Because to us, you know, a year is not that long, but for him that is so long, and like so much happens in that first year.
And he's growing so much so quickly, and just people really were downplaying, like, oh, it goes by so fast. Make sure you soak it up. And I'm like, you all lied to me. Because you said it goes fast. No, it goes astronomically, like super speed. Star Trek's failing me. I can't think of the hyperspeed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Really bad at Star Trek.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I think it's Star Wars, but anyway.
Whatever.
I'm not on that mood right now.
Anyway,
but I think there's only so much you can try and explain that to somebody, because until you like
experience it,
once you experience, like, wait, hold on, like, holy cow, he's so big, he's doing so much. I kind of miss when he was a little baby that we could hold him in our arms with, like, barely notice him.
And not worry about him trying to jump down and commit suicide.
Oh my gosh.
With his little noggin.
So, that's one thing as a parent I wasn't expecting. I know that, you know, people talk about toddlers and I've heard jokes about their fascination with how many ways they can hurt themselves, but, like, he's not, like, before 4 months, he was already like, okay, so I can be in your arms, or I can shove off of your chest. Shove off your chest and see how far I can go. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be in my arms right now. But like there's so much that he does that is just like, please stop trying to like actively end things. Like I know that that's not your goal, but you're just doing the one thing. Like if there are couch cushions in most directions, he'll find the one that like, oh no, there's no padding there. It's like, can you not lean towards the one thing that can hurt you?
Right.
It's like, nah, that's my goal.
And we have hardwood floors throughout our whole house. Yeah. And we're like, how do we install mats? Just right. Thick, cushy mats. But yeah.
Yeah. So like there's just so much that we're doing just to prevent him from accidentally hurting himself by just trying to explore things and all the things he wants to grab. I'm like, please don't. Oh, and you're gonna try and eat that too. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just scary, you're constantly worried about this other being that didn't exist in your mind, like he wasn't here a year ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago. He wasn't here. He wasn't a thing. And all of a sudden we're worried about this other being. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have their own needs and their own schedule and sleep when they decide to sleep and wake up when they want to wake up and need to eat when they decide they want to eat.
So my next big thing is maternity leave and paternity leave.
Oh my gosh.
It is stupid. Other countries get so much better things from us, and I cannot believe that at 6 weeks old, people think that leaving their child is, leaving their infant is good or is acceptable. It is the hardest thing for me to go back to work. I have been struggling so hard with it. And I went back to work at 6 weeks, and I hate every moment of it. I love my job. I love my coworkers. And, it's nice to get away from Milo in the sense of, okay, no baby jumping on me.
It's a responsibility that does weigh on you.
Right.
No matter what you love it, like...
Yeah, it's, okay, well, now we have to find a babysitter for this time. Okay, well, your job isn't, we're trying to sync up our schedules. We're trying to do all this stuff. And it just isn't possible all the time, and so we're trying to find a babysitter, and then you're sitting there going, oh my gosh, does this person know how to change a diaper? Is this person capable of taking care of my child and not harming my child?
And then also, how are they going to be able to actually accommodate for his needs versus every other baby's needs? And
right. Are they going to be able to learn my child? And
right.
We live with my aunt, and leaving him with her is terrifying sometimes too, because I'm like, okay, he's had kind of a fussy day, Are they
going to be able to handle it? And like,
right.
And that's,
or do I call into work again?
Right. And that's something that like, I don't think there is a person on the planet that like, just I like one of those moments of like, I understand all the jokes and memes and stuff about like parenting, about like, yeah, no one's good enough for my kid. And like, I don't like, and to be fair, that also includes myself and my wife. Like, we also are saying like, can we even do what we need to do for our kid? So if we're not good enough, like, no one else is.
Yeah. My best friend works in childcare, and she takes care of Milo's age. She takes care of the baby. She absolutely loves her job, and she is. If someone told me, oh yeah, she's going to be in charge of you, I would be so happy, and I know that my child would be safe as can be. But that's my best friend, and anyone else in her facility, she could sit there and vouch for, and I'd be like, but it's not you. Yeah. So can you just move with him up age and just be with my child, please?
And to be fair, that only works for December. That does not go for me. If I had to leave that with the same person, I would not feel as comfortable because I just don't know them as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just one of those like, I don't know. And it's a terrifying thought, and it's one of those like, I guess we just don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Which is not possible, but
because you have to pay for bills and stuff. medical bills to tell you that he doesn't have a tongue tie that then costs $260 to tell me he doesn't have a tongue tie.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't. There's nothing we can do for you. Here's $260 you owe me now.
Yeah.
To tell me he is fine?
Yep.
Thank you.
Very expensive. Oh, there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those types of things you had to like show me exactly where that comes into play.
Yeah.
Because we paid for like that was supposed to be a surgery to help him with his tongue tie because the other doctor
pediatrician said
he's got a tongue tie. If you get that fixed, it'll be easier to do these things. And we're like, okay, that's great. So we got scheduled an appointment for the tongue tie to get the surgery.
Yeah.
The surgery for $200 to snip a little bit of skin in the mouth. Sure. I can see that you're using your expert skills that but
the doctor walked in, looked at his mouth, and looked at his face and said, "Oh, yeah, he don't have a tongue tie.
His tongue's too far out of his mouth."
Hadn't even looked in his mouth yet. Just looked at his face, saw where his tongue was in his face, and was like, nah.
And mind you, I understand that you're paying for expertise, because the pediatrician with an examination was worried about the tongue tie.
Yeah.
I get that, my dad's a mechanic, and I know that there's a lot of people that complain about mechanics, like, well, yeah, somebody else could look at you and go and say, hey, there's no problem, and there could be.
Right.
And having someone that can go, hey, actually, it's this other thing that doesn't seem like it's connected because I'm a professional and I've seen this 40,000 times. I understand
just
that.
like a general mechanic compared to Toyota specifically.
Right. Or someone that's been in the industry for 40 years.
Right.
But $200 to hear, nope, don't worry about it.
Yeah, is really that's ridiculous,
Yeah. And like I said, it didn't have a breakdown like for expertise, because no one else would have been able to tell you this.
Right.
$75. Mm-hmm. The time, because I understand people's time is valuable.
Right.
But like having a breakdown of like this is what you're actually paying for might have been helpful, but I'm like, that's a lot of money for something that we were there for 5-10 minutes maybe. Yeah.
I mean, with the doctor for 10 minutes, we were there for 2 hours, but yeah.
But
so that was frustrating, but yeah. So back to like leaving him with someone else. It's so difficult, Joel and I have had a hard time, leaving him with my aunt to go on a date, Okay, if you stop sticking your fingers all the way in your mouth, you won't choke.
Yeah.
He likes to try and fit his whole fist in his mouth. It doesn't work out well for him.
Sometimes it's 2 fists.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's both. Yes. But, yeah, going back to work was the hardest thing. And I didn't want to, but financially, we couldn't afford it anymore. And so I went back to work, and it's been the hardest thing since. And Joel and I have been talking constantly about, like, well, is there something at home we could do? And we haven't been able to find.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to find an at-home job for me. So, I'm holding this job until something at home can be done.
Right.
Because he needs a lot more attention, and he needs all of my attention. Not a lot more. He needs all of my attention. And, if I'm not here, I'm at work, if something happens, I'm not the one there, right? And I'm his comfort spot. I'm, when he's upset, he wants to come to mom. When he's...
Yeah.
He's so funny right now. He's doing... he's just talking away.
With his fingers in his mouth.
Yeah, But he when he gets his shots, Joel Joel's the one standing there holding him. I'm sorry, I mentioned the mean things. But when he got his shots, Joel was the one holding him while the doctor did it. And then he goes straight to me because he doesn't want daddy anymore. He wants mommy, you know. So we switched it up the next time, and I was holding him, and he was okay coming to me. You know, he just went straight to me. Ooh, what? Ooh. It's almost nap time again.
Yeah.
We've been talking a while,
Yep.
but. You know, he's getting his own personality already, and he's trying to go to sleep, and it just doesn't work on his own yet. And, you know, the research that's out, there's a lot of scams out there in the sense that people are, buy my product and...
Yeah.
You can, or buy my sleep guide and your child will sleep better. And, you know, a lot of people are like, does your child do this at night? And we're like, yes. We go to click on it and then we're like, great, I have to pay $65 for this thing. And I'm like, why is this such a secretive thing?
Right. And
you know, the only one you can find a ton of information about is the cry it out method. And that is the hardest one to do because you just let your child cry.
Yeah.
Until they fall asleep on their own.
Yeah.
And that is not... Joel is empathetic, and I'm a mom, and just letting the child cry for so long, you know, is difficult. I can't stand him crying for more than 5 minutes, or, you know, we're in the car, and it's just me and him in the car, and I'm almost in tears every time that he just is crying, and he'll make it half the drive, or 20 minutes, he'll make it 10 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes I'm like, it's okay, I'm like singing, I'm in tears, I'm like, he's gonna be okay, and I know that he's going to be fine, it's crying, he's fine, but I can't comfort him, I can't make it better, and that's the thing I'm struggling with.
Yeah, and it's a difficult thing, and as somebody that, you know, I've seen lots of kids be raised firsthand and secondhand, like, you know, I know that they need to be able to cry, they need to be able to regulate their own emotions and stuff like that, but it doesn't make it easier in the moment. I will say that I was the one that had to go with him when he got like his very first shots. And his first, like, bath and stuff like that, they took him out of the
circumcision.
I was the one that went there, and that helped me a lot with I can't be super bothered by his crying. Now, that doesn't mean I'm totally callous to it, but, you know, I have a little bit more...
He can go for 20 minutes of my crying, whereas I can go for 5.
Yeah, and there's times where I'm like, there's nothing. I've tried everything. And she's like, try more things. I'm like, every single thing I have tried. Well, try it again. I'm like, babe, I believe me, I don't like him crying. I don't want him to be crying right now. And it's something that, like, we've learned that she has to be in the back with him because... especially on days that I've not had a lot of sleep and I don't have a lot of patience. If I'm trying everything and she's like, oh, you haven't tried this? And I'm like, I did. Believe me, I've tried everything. Yeah. He's just not happy in the car seat right now. Versus when she's back there and she knows factually that she is already doing everything. Right. Is sometimes the only way we can go places. Because I'm like, if you yell at me one more time about trying another tactic, I'm like, I'm going to lose it. But... you know,
we're also doing a combination of breastfeeding and formula, and so in the car, you know, if I'm in the back, I can start nursing him.
Thank you. If you go to my Patreon, you'll hear the unedited version, but I don't think Spotify let me keep the original version.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're family friendly.
Right. So there's that of, you know, I can do that.
Yeah.
So it's all a lot of guess and trial and error. Yeah. Trial and error. one day bouncing on the pregnancy ball that you get when you're pregnant to help, it works really well for bouncing the child to sleep.
Yeah.
It's been a lifesaver the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm sure in another week or so, it'll be the worst thing for him.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, he did well swaddling one night. After that one night, he was like, I don't like the swaddle anymore, and refuses to go use the swaddle. Would bust out of it on purpose within seconds. So we ended up not swaddling.
Yeah. But like the sleep slacks are like where it's like a onesie, but instead of 2 legs, it's just one bottom.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are okay.
And sometimes he hates it. So it's all a trial and error, and it's all of, well, it didn't work last time, but let's try it again. Mm-hmm. Up until, eventually you'll be able to be like, yeah, he absolutely hates this. There's not been one time where he's been okay with this thing. So then you try something different. It's a lot. And just don't get discouraged. Don't give up because you're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
So every child is different. Every pregnancy is different. Every birth is different. Everything is different. And just because you don't or can't do what you want
doesn't mean
you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
If you want to just breastfeed, well, there's some people out there that just don't make enough to breastfeed. There's some people out there that make an overabundance.
Yeah.
And
and it's something that ultimately it's not about what your parenting plan was. It's about what are you doing for your child?
Right.
Are you doing the best that you can for your child?
Can you clean his diaper? Can you change his clothes? Can you give him a bath? Can you feed him?
Yeah.
Great, you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Is he meeting all his milestones? Is he gaining weight? Is he growing like a good baby?
Yeah.
Great. Ask your doctors about stuff. Don't ask other people's opinions. Don't ask.
Well, you can. Just make sure
ask.
you're
Just
filtering through the people that actually,
right.
got their degree in it and stuff.
Yeah, because everybody on the internet, everybody everywhere has their own opinion.
Yeah.
But doctors are more backed up by,
science and facts.
But, and then other people may have good opinions,
Yeah.
It's just, take everything with a grain of salt and then do your own research.
Yeah.
And, some people say any amount of crying is bad for the child, and some say let the kid cry for 2 hours. Yeah. You're gonna get everything in between, and you just have to work out what's best for your child. We've been doing a lot of asking my parents and his parents of well, what did I do as a baby? How do we help this child? Yeah. It's been a lot of, we didn't, so he doesn't do binkies. We've tried. We have tried many different kinds. We've tried many different times. And what we've come to find out is he doesn't like binkies. We talked to our parents, and I refused a binky. My mom tried so very hard, and I said, no binkies. Yeah. And that's just how it was. And all I did, I would chew on my fingers. I never was a thumb sucker, but I chewed on my fingers. And my mom has pictures of me telling everybody I love them because I'm sucking on the 2 middle fingers, and but that was me. Yeah. Joel, on the other hand, I don't remember right now what your mom told us, but it is what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
But something I was gonna say is with the doing your own research, that's something that, like I said, ties in with the SIDS and stuff. Is one thing that I spend a lot of time, and this is by no means a judge of December's ability to discern things or figure things out. But she was pregnant, and with a newborn, it's a lot harder. But I spent a lot of time going, don't worry about that. And then we go to the doctors and the specialists, and I'd ask them the question, just making sure I'm not off base with this. This isn't something real I have to worry about, right? It's no. but it's something that I spent a lot of time with my research and my usually more logic-centric brain going, okay, let me go through this. Where is this research from? Oh, they don't have research. This is just somebody on Instagram going, hey, anyway, you know. And there was a really good example of this one person that was just making this video about like, well, see, my philosophy is that you introduce all the allergens early on so that they have more time to build up immunity to those. And I'm like, excuse you? Guy didn't have kids. Guy didn't have a degree in anything. Just was on the internet giving his opinion, but stating it as a professional in the industry. Like that's how he was phrasing it. Is this is what I've learned, and like from what? You're just a dude.
Yeah.
But there were people that were like, oh, I should, and it's like that's dangerous. But like I said, no research, no nothing, and there's people that were getting on this case and like, you know, reposting with their own commentary like, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be somebody posting something that like I can research in like 5 minutes going, well, all the professionals in the industry, whether they're doctors or psychiatrists, whether they are into traditional medicine or whatever, like everyone agrees, no matter across the board, this is a terrible idea. Okay, cool. You know, and December's since giving birth has gotten a lot better about those things of like, this sounds stupid. I'm like, probably right then. But there's a lot of fear mongering with that because like you're talking about those modules and then things like people, if they make you scared enough of your kid dying, they can say just about anything.
Right.
Which as...
And there's a lot of fear mongering around children.
Me and my personality, that gets me so irritated because I mean, you know how much I like to have things be real and factual and straightforward, and like it's something that with these tactics, it's shooting people, like taking out weak people. It's a scam, you know. It's not like, it's not too different from those people that scam call older people because they don't understand the difference between the official person for Windows and not.
Yeah.
And then they're going, okay, yeah, I can let you on my computer. Oh, you accidentally refunded me extra $9,000. I'll let you have that back. Oh no, I lost my savings. You know, this is just more vulnerable because the worry, because of the responsibility you have as a parent. You want to give the best to your child, and when they're going, well, you almost messed up. You want to spend $100 less on this product that you definitely need. But my product is better. It also raises their child's IQ so they can go to college soon. It's like, what? It's like, yeah, and your kid won't die. It's like, well, obviously you can't have my kid dying, so I'm paying an extra $100 for this other product that's identical to the other one. But fear-mongering, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, all over the place. All over the place. There's all sorts of stuff about this is the best thing you should do for your kid, and this is the product you need to buy, otherwise your kid's going to have a miserable life. And it's just a lot of pressure from social media, and be very careful of that.
Right. And then you add in for the woman the hormone change, the postpartum, the depression, all of that stuff. Everything in your body is now rechanging again, but quite quickly. And so your emotions, your everything is going to change as well. And everyone deals with postpartum differently. And so then you have the fear that everybody's instilling you from the internet. And then you also have your own emotions that are all over the place. And, you know, there were a few times where, you know, I'm still very much postpartum and still having hormonal changes and stuff like that.
And the postpartum depression.
I've started to get more of the postpartum depression. Well, in 4 months. Why is it still happening? Well, because it's still happening.
Yep.
You know, it can happen for a long time after postpartum. And so at the beginning I was okay, and then like 2 weeks in, everything was terrifying me. You know, I was like, oh my God, somebody's going to steal my child. Oh my gosh, she's going to get eaten by an alligator.
Yeah.
You know, anything and everything that could go wrong with this child was going to go wrong. And I was crying all the time. I was like, oh my gosh.
It was not fun for me.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting going, nothing's really changed at all. Like, because I didn't realize, even though I am a very aware person and usually in tune with all these things, some of these changes happen so fast there was nothing to prep for it. And I'm sitting going like, no, the ceiling isn't going to rip off our roof and a giant's not going to come pick him up and eat him. Like, to me, that was the level of absurdity. To her, this was a very, like, whatever it was. I used an exaggeration because I couldn't think of any of the actual things.
Yeah.
But, like, that felt like what she was worried about with her is, what if he chokes? Like, that was her level of, that's a real possibility. To me, this was like playing D&D going, I mean, if someone rolls a nat 1 and then another nat 1 and then another nat 1, maybe that could happen. She's going, oh, this is a for sure thing that's definitely going to hurt him. I'm like, so it takes some adjustment. And I've since then, throughout that time, was learning how to go, okay, let's walk through the steps that you're worried about, you know, instead of just being like, okay, crazy pants, which I didn't do, mind you.
No, we didn't.
But I definitely had those moments. I mean, I'm also having just emotional issues as well due to lack of sleep and having a kid, you know. Not as much hormonal, but still.
Right.
You know, but like I was able to keep my mouth shut when I wanted to see those types of things. But like, I'm still going, I don't understand. I don't get why you're worried about this. You know, but I was able to kind of work through a point where I can go, okay, so walk me through why you think this is going to happen. How do you think it's going to happen? And helping her get grounded again with like with the reality of the situation she's worried about, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if you ever feel like you want to harm your child, you ever feel any of the really bad stuff, call the helplines. They're going to give you so much stuff to help you with the, you know, to make you aware of the postpartum. At every single appointment for Milo so far, they have given me a form to fill out that says, you know, how are you doing postpartum? And just be honest and be truthful, because then they can get you the help you need in order to take care of your child better and safer.
And,
you know,
I want to add on to that. That doesn't mean you're being a bad parent.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're going to get in trouble. That's not a CPS call. It's no different in like normalcy than having depression.
Right.
You know, and I hope that comes across clearly, because it's something that I know that I've heard people, like, you know, in their parenting classes and stuff like that, people get worried that, like, well, if I tell people that I've had these thoughts, they're going to take my kid away from me. I'm never going to see him again. It's like, no, if you're going through this depression that happens as a mother, these are some of the natural things that can happen. As weird as it sounds, as obtuse as it sounds, it's a reality that they experience. And if you tell your doctor, hey,
I've had thoughts of harming myself or my child. Right. They're going to get you the help that you need
and
in
it's
order
not,
to...
well, you don't get a kid anymore. You don't deserve a kid, which is the worry. And especially with the depression going on, makes that worry much more real, much more serious thing. But... So
you're like, I don't want to tell anybody... You know, I'm not having these thoughts. I'm not doing this.
Depression by itself already gives you that wall of, I don't want to tell people my issues, but you add that onto the social idea of, I want to hurt my kid or myself, that doubles down on that, like, I can't tell anybody.
Yeah, that terror.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. That's not it. They're asking these questions because it is a great concern, and they don't want you to get hurt. They don't want you to hurt yourself. They don't want you to hurt your child. Right. And because of the postpartum hormones and because of everything going on in your system, trying to re-regulate and, you know, learn how to be a new person now that you've had a child and stuff, they want you to get the help. They're asking these questions because they care. Right. And, you know, I would like to say I'm fairly lucky. I've never had a thought, you know, I've not been down the bad part all that often. I'll have mood swings. I'll have, you know, moments, but they're
and there's
not.
definitely worries where your brain runs through scenarios of, oh no, I need to make sure that he's like 4 miles away from any corner of anything, because if I get too close, this is going to just explode and stuff.
Yeah, there's moments where I'm like a little crazy, but they're not. From other things I have heard, they've not been that bad of a postpartum. I've heard the stories of the moms killing themselves because they're so. Like they have such a bad postpartum depression and stuff that they do take their own lives because.
Or sadly worse, but
because they just aren't in their right space and they're not able to get the help.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I will do my very best to find an international link, not just for New York or California or something like that, but like a place that anyone can click on this link and find the help that they need, or at least get some more information for help they need. In the description of the podcast. Anything else that you can think of as far as things that we learned as parents?
It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm so glad we have him.
Me too.
He's made everything better.
Yeah.
He's just so darn cute.
Well, I think people have said this before, and like it's a difficult emotion and a thought and space to be in to explain, but like when I say it's a lot. It's a lot of tough, it's a lot of nice, it's a lot of wonderful, a lot of amazing, a lot of terrible, a lot of just, it's a lot. Like it is the full spectrum of everything. You have the highs, the lows, the mids, the boring, the exciting, the all of it, and it's really hard to explain, like, but the net is positive. Even though there's days I'm sitting going like, why do we have a kid?
Why did we do this?
Who let us do this? But at the end of the day, it's I love Milo so much, and I'm happy that he's here. And
it's a lot of, why didn't we do this sooner?
But there's a lot that goes into it. But if you like this and you want to hear more from us about this as time goes on, please let me know. I don't want this to be just this is relevant to me and so everyone else needs to know this. I want this to be something that if you guys like, I'll do it again, but I don't want to just do this again just because I can. Today I wanted to make sure that that I still care about you guys. I still am working on producing more, just with a child literally in my arms right now, but on hand it has been a little bit harder to make time for podcasting, for editing, for scheduling stuff. I'm still working on finalizing some interviews for a handful of people. Unfortunately, their schedules have also been elusive at the moment. But I'm working on posting a lot of stuff on my Patreon. So I started a whole new series on my Patreon. They're miniature episodes, maybe half an hour-ish. I call it Joel Rants, and it is me on whatever topic I'm on today, just talking about it, ranting about it until Milo goes to sleep. So I get to put Milo to sleep while ranting about something. So check out my Patreon if that sounds interesting to you. I don't think they're exactly real podcast worthy, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm not doing a lot of editing. You get to hear some baby coos and cries and stuff. But they're entertaining, I hope. So you can find my Patreon at patreon.com. I haven't had that link on my mind in a long time. I haven't said this part in a long time. But I think it's /Curious Joel, I believe. But if you search me up as Curious Joel on Patreon, you'll find me. I've got I have early episodes, so I release them there. almost all the time before I put post. I think this last time I was a little rusty and I forgot to do that way. But post episodes first there. You often get less edited, so like there's more stuff just left in that gets edited out for time or continuity or whatnot. In there, you have the icebreakers, which will have to happen with us at some other point because we did not have time to do that today. But I'll have those on Patreon as well. And there's also that's a good place that you actually can have some input on future episodes and questions that need to be asked that are not getting asked in regular episodes. So please go check it out there. That also helps me be able to dedicate more time to here. If I'm making money off of this podcast, that means that I can be home more often to actually work on more podcasts. And just a teaser, there's a possibility of another podcast coming soon with me as the host, but that'll be determined by money and time and interest. Check me out at all the usual places. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and you can email me at curiousjoelcast@gmail.com. Oh, and I'm working on getting a website. It's just taking, extra time because of Milo. But I'm working on a website that you can go to that'll have a lot of stuff on there as well. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for still listening. I do appreciate all the people that have stuck with me through this dry spell of episodes. I appreciate your understanding of life-changing. So thank you so much. As always, until next time, stay curious, y'all.